Everything needs patience, and that's the thing.
That's the thing. You know, when I first started, I was like in a rush for success overnight. This, you know, the Joe Rogan dream. Everybody wants to have the super podcast and have all the sponsors and have the recognition, and you don't put the fucking work in.
No, but you think
you have big dreams that you think happen overnight, but there's a lot of grinding in between and learning in between and a lot of failing in between to get to where they are.
Yeah, and standing out, like finding your little niche, or what are you good at? Like, what is the one thing that makes you sort of stand out from the rest in terms of like your skill and and a lot of people at the same time don't see all the stuff that goes in behind the scenes, like, you know, like those other years of like learning how to like work this and maybe make this whole setup and learning, like being in that podcast world and listening to all these podcasts and seeing like and learning from them, like what do they do, which parts of those can I take into mine, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
incorporate into my own, but make it my own, but incorporate a little bit what makes them dope. So I was talking to the guys earlier about how I want to branch out. So I have this idea that I am gonna bring it to life, where, you know, I want to talk to a lot of the fighters in town. You know, a lot of the Extreme Couture fighters, Syndicate fighters, 10th Planet fighters, all those guys, you know, and or wherever the fuck they are, right? If you're fighting in town in Las Vegas, come holler at me, man. I want you to get on the pot. But I have this idea. Have you seen Hot Ones? The show on YouTube?
Love Hot Ones.
All right, so Hot Ones, fantastic show. Fantastic idea, right? Yeah. You're asking these questions in a vulnerable situation, and it's progressively getting harder, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the last thing you're trying to do is not tell the truth. The truth is easy, right? You can say, you can just say it real quick, and if you're vulnerable, it's like, hurry up, let me say what the fuck I gotta say it, and get back to being in pain from the chicken wings.
Yeah.
Or so have you seen Cold as Balls with Kevin Hart?
Yeah,
right, so
exactly.
Same idea.
Yeah, true.
Vulnerable
I didn't even make that link like before. Yeah.
So I have this idea where I want to catch fighters on the mitts, or catch people on the mitts, and then, you know, have them a little bit tired, you know, and ask them questions like that.
Like when they're all tired, yeah.
And then I also want to spar fighters at the end, whether that's, you know, like a grappling match or actually like boxing or whatever.
So is your goal there to actually get beat up? So would you like?
I know I'm going to get beat up.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like if
it's
you're
more
gonna
like
strike a wrestler or like wrestle a striker, it's like you have to fight them in their discipline.
I honestly want to do what they choose, what they think they're better at, or maybe what they want to beat my ass.
I like that one.
I know for sure I'm gonna get my ass whooped. That's the main thing about it, is that I'm going in here with such a humble, you know, approach.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you guys do this. I'm not coming in here on no disrespectful, I'm going to try to beat your ass or anything, or try to punch you in the face, sneak on the camera or anything. No, it's like, I'm going to come here and fight for my fucking life and hopefully learn a thing or two.
You see that guy, like I recently saw that guy fighting Sean Strickland, the last guy that probably a lot of people went in to fight him, but there was this one guy, he actually was about it. Like he got his ass beat, but he kept standing up. Yeah, and he kept talking shit. And he took his beating, and he went all the way. Like,
yeah, I know exactly
I respect
which
that
one
guy.
you're talking about. Yeah,
that's respect, honestly, because there's a lot of people that just talk all that shit and they don't back it up. They show up to these gyms sometimes and just like first punch and they go down.
So,
but if
imagine how badass does Sean Strickland have to be able to walk everybody down like that when they're sparring and not really give a fuck and just talk shit and just wreck these dudes.
Yeah.
And people don't really realize, I don't think, how fucking big Sean Strickland is.
Because I haven't met him in person, but
I seen him at the event recently, and I took a picture with him. Yeah.
Oh, true, he was there. Yeah, but that was a brawl there too. Like, how did that go?
At the end, yeah.
I was like filming it.
All right, so the funniest situation. So Chris Curtis, man, shout out to Chris Curtis, super nice guy. But you know, at the end of the fight, where the dude was talking shit after he won, you know, the people from Extreme Couture were running up. And the homie Vari from the You Know What It Is podcast, shout out to You Know What It Is. But he's over there trying to hold back Chris Curtis. If you ever see Chris Curtis, that dude is a fucking big guy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Vari, what the fuck are you doing? Let this guy go before he wrecks both of us very easily.
Man, I didn't even hear this through because I was out with the other was it Mitch, Cynthia, O'Day? They were all together with Chris at that time. So it was like the night after I went out, and I was supposed to be there. I was gonna be there, and I was too hungover. I think it was like I recovered way too late to like kind of get tickets still, and like, yeah.
It was fun, man. It was some good fights. It was some good fights. I love it because it's a lot of local people. There's some cast from Syndicate that won, some people from Extreme Couture that got their first fights. And then shout out to homie Mikey. He performed in the main event, and he broke his hand in like 30 seconds into the first round. And ended up did fantastic, man. Got his opponent to the ground. Shout out to his opponent. I forget his name. My apologies. You remember?
Compton. That was his last name.
That dude, man. He had balls. He stayed in there and then ended up pulling off the Kimura at the end of the third round. So it was one hell of a fight, bro.
It was crazy.
So I like those. Like I was talking to you about it earlier. I like those intimate settings. Those. It was at Circa, downtown Las Vegas. You know, everything is usually on the Strip in Vegas, but downtown is more low key, more for the locals. You know what I'm saying? So pulling up in there is it's pretty nice, and the Circa is nice as hell. That was my first time there.
I kind of have that like feeling here too. Like I'm learning it. I try to always take my first week here, like anywhere I go, to live that local experience and to learn all these things. I don't go to those touristic places. You know, I don't go. I went to, like, I'm staying 5 minutes, 6 minutes from the Strip, and it took me a week, 7 days to go there for the first time. You know? Because
why is that?
Like, first of all, I didn't like. Maybe the Strip is a different thing because you don't want to indulge too much. I have my demons and everything, but mostly, if I know I'm going somewhere for work, like I know this is a workation, but I'm working on moving here. I need to understand how they move around. What are the local spots? What are the places where I can best camouflage myself as a local in a way? And not get indulged, because like those places, those touristy places are a facade. It's kind of like you get a false impression of the place.
Oh, for sure.
Because I live in Amman, Jordan, and in Amsterdam. Those were my main homes. Those are two very touristy places, you know. So you kind of learn how to navigate that. Because I lived in a different side of the Netherlands at first, and then Amsterdam was like the going out place, like the city where people go crazy. So my idea of it was like it's just parties all the time. It's like, how do people even, are there people with normal jobs there? You know. But once you go there, you're like, it is a place with only normal jobs, and there's this little piece of it that's like that people think is the main thing, the party spot. So getting that out of the way is the most important thing for me, I think, first, because then you don't get indulged too much. And a lot of people gave me the advice to be like in it but not of it. Here,
straight up, man.
Best piece of advice. I got this from like really successful people, so I take their word for it. You know, the way they explained it was like, also, as long as you stay true to yourself and don't try to change your personality in a way, and don't change who you are for other people to be accepted. And that's how you're gonna find the people you actually want to associate with, and where you're gonna have
because you don't have to try too hard.
Yeah, you don't have to try.
That's the thing. It's very easy to be yourself.
Yeah, it's like easy, but people think they want to please other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you have to act out of character, now you're stressing. Now you're thinking too much. You're not really enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're being yourself all the time, it's very easy. You're calm. You're relaxed. You're chilling.
Yeah.
You're more aware. Your senses are heightened because you're paying attention to different things. The last thing you're worried about is, oh shit, am I doing this good enough for so and so to like me?
Like maybe because you see these people and they're successful, and you want to impress them and stuff. But at the end of the day, how long can you keep that going?
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
But because there's a way to fake it till you. Because I've done fake it till you make it in a good way.
You got to do it sometimes. You got to do it. Yeah.
Act bigger than you are, but at the same time, if you're yourself, like you're gonna attract like-minded people, and that stuff is gonna be authentic. It's gonna stick around. Like those are the people that are gonna stick around because it vibes on a real level.
They generally fucked with you because energy is a real thing.
Exactly.
Energy, man, it radiates off people.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention, you can really feel it.
Yeah.
And my little cousin, he said something to me recently that really stuck with me with energy. He said, have you ever been somewhere and somebody is staring at you from behind you and you could feel it? You could feel the tension. And you turn around and you see them and they look away or whatever.
Yeah.
You felt that energy. That was some negative ass, bullshit ass, hating ass energy that was fucking being drawn on you.
Exactly.
You cut that shit with a knife.
Yeah.
Same thing on the positive side.
Yeah.
When you're vibing with somebody on a natural level because you're both being your genuine selves, it's like, oh man, I fuck with that person. And like you said, it sticks. At a later time, you can look back and say, hey man, when I did the pod with Nick, man, it was fucking that was the shit. We talked about some crazy shit that day.
That's when you like sometimes have a guest on, you don't even have to prepare it. It's flowing, and it's one of the best episodes always. You know, like you feel it. I feel like animals, this is a whole other thing. I don't want to go into this too much, but I feel like animals feel it. The way animals react to it, they react to good energy. Like they connect with people real quick.
Yes.
I had that with dogs recently. I just realized like dogs are really
There are
Like,
some bitch ass dogs out there though too. So that shit could be flipped.
But, you know, so that's what made me like even believe more in energy. Is that okay? I felt it with humans too. But if all like all human beings, I mean all animal, like all living things, kind of like
fuck with you, to gravitate towards you, so or gravitate towards a person. Yeah, because they like you. If they're shying away from you and not fucking with you, or growling at you, or hissing at you.
So I don't know if it's a personality thing.
It's the energy. It's the energy that radiates off, man.
So that's it. If it's the energy, and if you believe it's the energy, then there's no reason to like change who you are to like please other people.
You know? Yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah,
and that's easier said than done, right?
Yeah,
because I feel like as a lot of people, and even myself at a younger age, you know, you kind of have that maybe of fear of being judged, or the fear of not, hey, I really like this person, but if I act myself, maybe they won't like me. You know, I'm sure a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah.
So
and then also like maybe maybe I had to deal with it here, but I'm past that stage already. But like if I was younger, probably coming here, I would be like, I have to find new people, I have to find my friends and everything, because I don't know many people. Then maybe you try to like act out of character to sort of like please whatever group you're in. And it is difficult to be in a group where you maybe vibe with nobody, and like what do you do then? Do you change your personality, or do you step out? Like it's also shitty to kind of step out and feel like you missed out on an opportunity maybe, or you know.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on those people. If they're good people, but just I'm the sore thumb, but they keep on welcoming me, shit. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been in that situation.
Like, it's also different when you're like, whether you're trying to build something or if you're just trying to have a fun night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where people get lost, I feel, a lot of the times. Like maybe they're with the wrong people, but instead of like thinking they want to have a fun night, they're like, they get too attached to that group. And that's when you lose yourself a little bit, I think. And that's one of the things I think I was trying to avoid first week. Like I've been in a situation where I was out, went too far here with a group of people. I stepped out. You know, because but that comes with time. You know yourself. You know these people are not for you. You step out at the right time, you know, before they become attached to you. You know, they can drag you down. You know.
Yeah, certain situations calls for it, man, for sure.
Authenticity.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with the podcast. It's like if you're authentically you, like you'll find your niche.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things.
Because that's something that you're gonna reference over and over, I'm assuming.
Well, so yeah, I mean. Because people are always like it's a cliche when they say like be yourself, like when they say what's the key to success on like podcasts and everything, and I'm not even close, I'm just starting, you know. But still I find the most success are the things that get the podcast, the growth you get from either like views of a podcast, or like a connection you make with a guest and you stay in touch with them, comes from connecting with the ones that you feel you were yourself with, you know what I mean? So once you're yourself and you have faith that there's people that are gonna connect with the message that you have, or like the kind of personality that you bring to the podcast and everything, like that's where you're gonna have the most success, because that's gonna draw that exact niche of people that vibe with you. You're not trying to be someone else or act different to get someone else's niche. You can't keep that up. Like those people are not gonna stick, because they're gonna feel the fakeness at some point. You know. But, so yeah, that's very important, I think. Not just with podcasts, like with everything. Because
with life, man.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
it's a lot less stressful when you're just yourself.
Yeah, and it's why is it so? It sounds like we're not sharing any message right now, you know. But it's as simple as that. Sometimes, like people think there's a whole like formula to it. Like no, I think people just stick to the people that they vibe with.
Yeah, I could dig that, man. So speaking of the podcast, talk about your podcast a little bit. How'd you get started?
That's a funny story. Yeah, though. So In the Booth, it's called, on Air Media Productions, is a project I started when lockdown hit us. We were very locked down in Amsterdam. That's where I'm based at the moment. And so it's a video production company. It's a media production company, Air Media Productions. I've always been into combat sports big time. I felt like I know a lot about it. Always wanted to start a podcast. I had a podcast with a couple of friends. We talked about music more. And then when COVID hit, I lost a lot of clients and lost a lot of projects, and I had the panic mode that everyone had. We're like, shit, like, where the fuck am I going to get my money from? Luckily, the government stepped in too to aid us a little bit, and I was like, I got to do something with this check. I set up this home studio. It's like, I'm going to take this opportunity to like start the podcast. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if it grows, and, you know, let's see how far we can take it. So it was literally just a matter of doing it. It's just getting yourself over the hump. Now I had the time. I had no excuse for myself. What am I going to do? Sit around? What else can I do? We're locked down in the house, no work.
Straight up.
So I think my first guest was Markel Martin, who's Francis Ngannou's manager and head of combat sports at CAA. It's my boy. So that was pretty good. So the conversation topic was already interesting. Did you know him prior? No, I just because I was watching. I think it was Hotboxing with Mike Tyson, and he was interviewing Francis, and then Francis said, "Oh, but this is my agent. He can tell you more about this." And he said, "This welcomed him in." And I thought it was super interesting. I thought there was a lot I wanted to learn because I wanted to get into sports management as well and fighter management. I'm like, this is someone I got to hit up. He seems approachable. Did it. He wanted to do it. It was good. And that gave me that motivation. Like, shit, I can really reach out to people that are like, pretty high up. Maybe not directly as like fighters or anything, but I started inviting at first like different people over, like entrepreneurs, artists, like people doing interesting things. Cannabis entrepreneur, by the way, who I've connected with here in the States. And I was like, these are people that I'm building genuine connections with, and I stay in touch with the guests most of the time. Like you can't stay in touch with everyone. Like some people,
it's hard.
Don't have that with, but most of them, I mean, I'm still in touch with. I make sure to like check in every once in a while, and we joke around or send a meme.
Yeah, you generally fuck with that person. Yeah,
it's like this is a networking tool, man. Like this is a fucking networking tool.
Yes, man. It took me 2 years to understand that shit.
Probably for me, it was like a year or two. Like it's a long time. Because, like, without it, if COVID didn't happen, I wouldn't be here right now.
Would have never met all these people. Like you said, would have never started your company, your podcast, would have never went to LA, would have never went to Vegas.
And I mean, all this is an investment. I'm not making money yet here, like, being here. But it's like chasing that network and seeing what the opportunities are here. And coming to the realization that I have to be here to really, like, advance in this industry,
It's the holy mecca, man.
Yeah, it
is. Holy mecca of fighting. Everybody's here.
Small world, man.
yeah, exactly.
Like, just today, just, like, in passing and seeing the people that I've met today already, it was like, these are people I would only see on TV, like before, But it's becoming normal. That's the thing,
You mentioned that earlier, just a couple years ago. You look back and say, man, these guys are badass as fuck. Watching these guys in a cage or the ring, whatever it may be, and then now you see them in person. It's like, holy fuck, these are my peers now.
Yeah,
like how do you build friends with people that you're like kind of geeked out over? It's like, it's weird, right? Bro? It's fucking
like,
crazy.
Some of their secrets a little bit, kind of like they build that trust, and you stay at their house. It's like crazy, but that comes from
trust. You said it.
It is trust. It's like knowing how to deal with people. But that's the thing. It's like being yourself and like having faith in your personality or charisma or something like that. Like I've always been told I'm charismatic and all that stuff. So I try to like apply that to business. Like how can you make not that the goal is to make money. Like we're building relationships, and if any opportunities come from that,
you still gotta eat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like drop people just because I don't get opportunities out of them. We build friendships and connections, and eventually opportunities are gonna come from that because you're gonna spend enough time with them, and they're gonna be like, I know this guy that does this. Eventually you're gonna know. It's just about building as many connections as you can.
It's a matter of being nice to people,
but being genuine.
Just be nice, dude. Yeah, like if you're nice to people, and don't be nice for beneficial gain. Yeah, be nice because you generally want to be nice to that person.
Yeah, it's like I know good. Do you ever go into like social situations with not ever, but most of the time go into social situation with a motive? Like just don't go in with a motive.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Don't go there to have fun.
Yeah, go in to have fun.
Because if you set expectations, that leads to stress. When it leads to stress, it leads to.
But people can smell the fakery, kind of like you need something from them.
You're pushing it a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
It's like
if you just say like, for instance, if I'm out and about in a networking situation, and if I go there with the intentions of saying, okay, I'm gonna get like 5 people on my podcast, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going around and I'm pitching my podcast hard, and it seems like they're like, you're being too pushy.
It like, feels like fanboy too, like you can't,
Versus if I go there and I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna go there and have a good time. I'm walking around I see somebody and they generally have something that I'm generally interested about. Oh man, your painting was fantastic. And I walk up to them, hey, I think your painting is absolutely beautiful. I would love to hear more about you and how you got started out of a podcast. If you have any interest or anything, hit me up.
Yeah. The interesting part
and then walk away is like, fuck it. I don't even care if you do or not, but I would love if you did.
But the thing about podcasts is it's a conversation. So like you're already doing it at the moment there. So you could also be like, so I won't name names yet. Last time I was at an event too, and I ended up talking to one of these fighters about like we're talking about careers, everything. We're talking about life, and they're interested. They're pretty experienced. They're a bit older. And at some point, I was like, dude, like if we put a camera here, like this would have been a great podcast episode. And that's how it is. It's the same thing. And they're like, let's continue this another time. Let's do this on the show. You know, so
because it's valuable information, man. Because a lot of conversations, they can affect somebody some way. Yeah. You know, as long as you're saying something with some type of you know,
like don't forget that like you would have learned from yourself like 10 years ago. You know, like there's people in that situation where we take it for granted because we have that information already.
Life experience. So,
but it took us a long time. We have to think about it took us a long time to get there. So like there's people in that situation that we were in 10 years ago that could have used the information that we have now and the experience we have now.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah.
So how have you grown your podcast? Like from when you started in COVID and you know, you reached out to Francis Ngannou's agent, right?
Yeah.
And then where'd you go from there? Like how'd you say, okay, did you have a plan of what you wanted to get to ultimately, or were you kind of winging it?
I just wanted to make it look better every time, and I felt like, so I had a lot of experience in video production and editing, so I knew I could make the thing look slick and look a lot bigger than it is, like a bigger operation than it was, and make it be something that people were okay being attached to. And I think that the reason I was able to get bigger names on than I should have probably at that stage was because it just looked like great content, and people are always looking for content. Like they want content of themselves. They have a message to spread that they want to talk about. Maybe they have like, you know, and I think the fact that the way it looked made people more inclined to say yes to it at the beginning. So used kind of my production experience to make it look better and get these people on, you know, like bigger names. And with bigger names, you get more followers, obviously. The more they share it, but also the conversation topics. I really was focused on like later on, I had a show which was more like focused on fight week and like asking those fight questions about fight week. But in general, it's like I have a way of like really connecting deeply with like the mental side of fighters, and like they really trust me with things. And like, for example, I remember Jenny Savage, who's in Bare Knuckle FC. Like, she was being ostracized after losing against Britton Hart, and because she was talking a lot of shit, and she had a lot of mental stuff, a lot of pressure shit going on in her life. So she posted like she was banning all media that weren't BKFC from talking to her. So I'm not gonna even give any interviews or anything. But because of the conversations me and her were having behind the scenes, she suddenly, as soon as she posted that, she texted me, "I got you an interview soon, by the way." So she ended up revealing everything and like being very open about it. And I've noticed that with a lot of people, they end up like vibing in a different way with me because I come from a very authentic place, and I just want to like hear them out, hear their mental stuff out. It's very personal. It's not like I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not trying to get those quotes out. I'm really genuinely trying to like get deep into their thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that builds a different kind of relationship because that's kind of the basis of like trust, I feel like. So I always tell people like through my history of like interviewing like artists and stuff during my video production work to like now, like I have a book I can write about secrets I have about all these, whether it's athletes and like artists and stuff, like some stuff that could destroy that I won't release because that's the kind of trust I've built up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I think that comes from like just being genuine. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to hurt anybody or put.
But even like creating a clickbait like title, like I understand it from those media platforms in a way, but it depends what your goal is. I guess if you're like trying to build your media platform as like journalism or like in sports news or whatever. You need to do that, kind of.
Because you need to be able to draw people in.
But for me, I think I'm trying to leverage... The podcast for me is like... I'd like to make money off of it. But if I can just use it as the business card and the networking tool, like that's good for me too. Because I could do just production work. I'm in athlete management now. So, you know, for me, that's always been more the case. And, you know...
Yeah, because you can use a podcast. Hey, let me talk to you. Let me sit down and talk to you. Have a podcast, sit down, talk for an hour and a half. Next thing you know, you become best friends with these fucking people, and you're like, you know what, man? If you ever need any work done on the side, I'll also do this. I manage, and then you never know because there's a lot of the times, man, these athletes or shit or rich people, you know, successful people, they get fucked over with their money, with you know their public image,
it's harder
a whole
for them
bunch
to trust
of shit.
People,
yeah, man. especially if you're a fighter. Like, even if you make it to the UFC and you're on a 10 for 10, what the fuck is that gonna do for you?
Yeah.
What is that gonna pay for your transportation expenses and your gym fees and your fucking food?
You get managers, and you get taxes, and you get all that. So yeah, but yeah, because I actually several fighters have said the same thing in different words to me over the last few weeks. Is like, when I win, like how many phone calls they get, and then how many phone calls they get when they lose. Like, it's like people drop off. People they've never heard of or haven't heard of in like 10 years will kind of like hit them up when they've won and like try to hang out. You know,
that's bullshit, because like,
Jakes.
Like, I feel sometimes if a person loses, it's like, what do you say to them?
Yeah.
So maybe some people don't want to be offended or offend the person that lost, so they don't hit them up. But I feel like, me being the person I am, if I care about you, if you lose, I may not hit you up immediately, depending on who you are, but I'm gonna hit you up, you know, within a reasonable time, let you decompress a little bit, and then, you know, I'm gonna hit you up and see how you're doing.
It's like so the thing about it is, I think the decompression thing, like that's a very important thing that people don't understand about fighters. I feel like at this point is like, people always think they have an opinion, and sometimes you just gotta leave it alone. Like, let the people closest to them, like, sort of like hit them up, because they're gonna reach out, because they're the ones that are gonna probably reach out to people that need to talk to. You know, at the same time, like maybe you gotta wait for them to hit you up, and you know you can hit them up after a certain amount of time. But yeah. But also,
they definitely need to decompress.
I think that sport is like really easy to figure out who your real friends are and who not, like through wins and losses. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, because everybody wants to be on a winner's side, right? But your true friends are going to hold you down when you're going through a tough time. Yeah. Because the thing that's bullshit,
they're going to double down on it, too. They're going to talk to you more after you lose, probably. So
yeah, straight up. Because, like, this fight game, man, it's a different beast. Yeah. Like, I look at the Izzy fight. He was winning that fight the entire time. Yeah. Now, Alex, he looked fucking terrifying the entire time. He looked like the Terminator, and he just kept coming down. Yeah. But Izzy was picking his shots and moving and looking great up until the very end of the 5th round and got caught.
Yeah, I had it just 3-1. Like Usman. I had it 3-1 for Izzy at that point.
Just like Usman.
Yeah,
you know. So it's like,
it doesn't say, at the end of the day, he lost.
so quick. It's not like in boxing. At least you have a 10 count.
Yeah, true.
You know, in MMA, if you get knocked on the ground, you're gonna either, one, is gonna be called, it's over, or two, you're having a fist or, you know, an elbow coming down on your face. So it's like that shit could turn very quickly.
Also, just that record is like what people are gonna reach still. Because now people are only talking about, I can be a culprit in that too. Like, it's 3-0, and Pereira bested him. You know, like, he's just a better fighter. But that doesn't have to be the case, because he was winning the fight.
Yeah.
If he would have survived 3 more minutes, you know, that's it. Like, he would have won. Nobody would be talking about it. They'd be like, he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
So no, now it's more like now even Pereira is talking about. I don't want to fight him a 4th time because then I'll end his career. Like, I don't want to end his career.
Oh my gosh, yes, talk that shit. Yeah. And the thing that sucks is that everybody loves Izzy. Like, how can you not, right? But it's like, yeah, I want to hear Alex talk.
See, I was with Pereira on that one, just because Glory. So I've seen him actually hit the bag and hit pads in Amsterdam, and it freaked me out. I've seen him back in the day do that, so I wanted him to do it more from like. I've seen him. I've met him. Not met him, but I've seen him in person, like a train. So I wanted to see how he can do it.
What is it like, him hitting the bag?
The thuds is like
left hook onto
loud.
The bag.
It's like it's like a cow's being skinned is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's like crazy whipping. Like, you see it, you just imagine getting hit by it, and it already hurts to like hear it. It's like, you know, that slap and thud at the same time, like that. That was really loud. Yeah. Like, the room was quiet. There was a lot of media there, and the room was quiet. Like,
was he quiet, or was he like, ah?
No, he was quiet. Like, he's quiet. He's just like, it's like methodical. It's like, it's psychotic almost. Like,
that's what I'm saying, man. He's like the Terminator.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He's like
from the jungle. And back then he wasn't even. I think that UFC kind of like hyped it more and made him even more terrifying with their kind of like their promotion and also the walkouts too. He has like that stuff. Like he built this persona. They built this persona for him. Was like. Even then, it was like, this is a scary guy, but like the way they built him up, I'm like, oh wait, he's scarier than I thought. Even when I saw him, like so.
I like
they do a good. Their promotional machine is insane.
Yeah, I love the fact that they promoted him off the success of Izzy. Yeah, Izzy came in as been a phenomenal fighter, undefeated fighter, other than when he moved up to the light heavyweight.
Yeah, I don't count that because it's just like
that's crazy.
He didn't even try to cut weight. No cutting weight. He's trying to eat.
I mean, same thing with fight Pereira, right? He came down from like fucking 240. So but Izzy came in. He's been dynamic in the UFC. Yeah, promotion machine, marketing machine. Just because he's so entertaining. Maybe his fights, not so much as of late. I remember when he fight Yoel Romero. I literally fell asleep. I fell asleep during that fight. That was bad, bro. But like in terms of outside and just like his personality and shit, he's super fun. He has that charisma.
It's the people like him and Patty who like bring people in that don't even watch the sport. Like because I'm just relating it to my housemate back home. His friend who's very nerdy about like also with like the anime stuff and all that, and he follows. He always asks me about Patty, and he always follows. He watched that Izzy fight. He doesn't even watch UFC only when I'm watching it and when we're having a crazy night. But he was texting me the other day, and he was like, he by himself was watching UFC. He never watches it if I'm not watching it. He was watching that shit on his own just because of Izzy's promotional machine. He's such an Izzy fan because of the anime stuff, because of his personality and stuff. So he has people, like that's what Conor did. Like there's people that only have watched Conor McGregor fights, Like how many people? Like probably millions of people that only watch Conor fights because it transcends the sport. Like people watch it for the shit talk, and I don't know. That's a superstar. It's a superstar because there's so much respect that goes into the fight game. Yeah, like so many people don't want to talk shit because they know it's fucking hard, bro. If you have ever trained in any type of combat sport, any type of fucking martial art, it's hard. Yeah, getting punched in the face sucks. Getting your arm bent backwards sucks. Getting fucking double-legged and dipped on your fucking head sucks. You feel like such a... Getting kicked in the face sucks. It all sucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's such a respect and humble approach that comes to this game. So when you have somebody that could come out and basically say, fuck you to your face over and over and over all over the world, and then go get in the octagon of the ring and beat the shit out of you, and then talk shit to you in the octagon too. So that's where that superstar comes in. Those guys that can transcend the sport, the Conor McGregors, and then the Anderson Silvas. He didn't really talk shit, but he was just so electrifying that he just took the sport to the next level. The Chuck Liddell, kind of like showboaty. Anderson was. He's always like respect. He might actually manage to mix the two, I guess, because in the octagon, there's sometimes when he's doing some that silly shit. Typical martial arts code of honor type of person, but then in the octagon, exactly, that's when he's like, even against Jake Paul at some point when he was hugging, he's like, no, don't do that, let's do this, like don't fuck around, because I think he's like you said, he has that good balance between the humbleness and the respect to the sport, but also he's still a showman. He's still performing for the crowd. Yeah, he puts the art in martial arts. He was almost like a TV action star. Yeah, for real. Yeah. Because the way he fought and the way but he all of it comes from a place of respect, because like even the showboating and stuff, that's respect to the fans. Yeah. Because like he's like, they're spending money to watch me, like let me entertain them. And then outside it's like, let me respect my opponent. Yeah. So it's you got to respect a lot of people, a lot of things. Yeah, so you said downstairs that you've been boxing for a while. Tell me how you got into boxing. How'd you get started with that? So first of all, like the first combat sport I did was Taekwondo. Okay. Because my parents were like, there's a lot of Taekwondo gyms in Jordan where I grew up because we're doing very well in that. Actually, recently we had a gold medalist in the Olympics too. So there's a lot of that. We have a lot of high level training. And my parents that don't know much, I guess, like, about combat sports thought that was the best thing to do, I guess. Because like there was a time in school, like at that time, where like there was a lot of fights happening and there was a lot of bullying between people and everybody. I feel like most combat sport people that do combat sport have been bullied, and I've been bullied, like everything.
Everybody goes through it
and
at
they
least
kind of
once
like
or twice.
So they wanted me to at least know how to defend myself, and that's how I got into it. And after a while, I think I realized already as a kid, like, nah, this is not enough. Like the kicks and stuff is not enough. Because after my first class, because I was having some trouble back then. And after my first class, I was already like
trying to fight people
I can beat this fucking guy up who's trying to messing with me in school.
Hey, motherfucker, I do
exactly.
Taekwondo.
I remember even telling that. My father picked me up from the class, and I was telling him, like, I think I can beat that guy's ass. And then my coach immediately heard me.
Up now.
Yeah, I know. But that's when I learned the code.
What happened?
Because my coach came up to me, and he heard that, and he's like, hey, you never do this for offensive reasons. You only do it for self-defense. Like, first thing I want to teach you. Okay, cool. So I goes humble. I was like, shit, this guy's already pissed at me. Like, okay.
Yeah. Hey, you're walking away to the car. You're like, fuck that.
Well, funny thing is,
Harry up tomorrow.
A week later, the guy attacked me in school. I couldn't do shit about it. Like, we were still like scrambling and spinning on each other. Yeah. Like, this wasn't useful to shit.
Yeah. Kicks from the fucking clinch and shit.
Mm-hmm. But then, about how long was I? I think I was in it for like 2 years. And then I thought, like, because then I started watching boxing. I think when I started boxing, it was around when it was Pacquiao De La Hoya. I remember the promos for that one. And I was like, this is cool as shit. I need to transition to that.
What was that?
Was it 2008?
10? 9?
I think 2009. Let me check this out quick. Pacquiao De La Hoya. Because I remember they were like saying that.
Maybe October 09? Runner?
Maybe
early 20.
Must have been 2009. 2008. See, it's December 2008, so almost 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think they were promoting it like De La Hoya is the king, and there's this tiny Filipino guy who's creating some hype, and he can't beat this guy, but he beat the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. He made him quit. And I thought that the whole the build-up of that was like the coolest thing ever, and I'm like, my hands are never going to be like this. So it's like, I got to get into boxing. My parents weren't supporting that. They were cool with Taekwondo and everything, but they weren't cool with boxing. But they're like, whatever. Because I think their idea. Because my father grew up watching boxing and everything, but he always watched heavyweights. Maybe that's the thing. He watched Ali's. He watched the Tyson, like Mike Tyson and everything. When he was a big fan. So he's like, this is too brutal.
Yeah, those guys are too much, man.
Yeah, but it's a different era. Like it's a different mindset too.
Yeah,
I think back then it was like all about like killing each other. You want to kill this guy in the ring and everything. I'm like, but that's. Maybe because I grew up watching the Pacquiao's, the smaller guys. Maybe that's why I was like less. Yeah, because it's more like technique.
When we were growing up, like Pacquiao and Mayweather were dominant and pay-per-view kings and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know, Miguel Cotto.
Yeah.
Shane Mosley on the tail end of his. It was like the guys
Crazy Mayorga as well. It was always fun to watch him get beat up.
Yeah,
but like. It's
Canelo was coming up.
It was more technical. Like, yeah, there were knockouts and everything. They were crazy too, but it was more like it was exciting to watch like the footwork and the whole like
the footwork
speed
is
and everything.
Crazy. Yeah. Hey, that's why I like watching Tyson Fury. Yeah, he's such a fucking huge. He will
forever be my favorite heavyweight.
But his footwork is crazy. He can actually fucking box, dude. And he's a mammoth of a man. Was he like 6'7", like 320 or some shit?
Last time he weighed in, I mean, if you see, because the shocking part was, have you ever met Francis? I haven't even met Francis in person.
I've never seen him.
No, everyone
we train at the same fucking gym, and I never see him, dude.
Every single person I talked to here has met him, except for me, who knows his manager very well.
Fuck.
Actually, let me hit him up sometime. I was like, fuck it, I gotta make this happen before I leave. But when you remember after the Dillian White fight, when he invited Francis, was it after the White fight? Yeah, I think a White fight. Yeah, when he got Francis into the ring because they wanted to sell their fight. Mm-hmm. See how tiny Francis was in comparison to Tyson Fury, when Francis is like seen as one of the biggest guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. Like, but that's the thing about boxing. There's no heavyweight limit. Mm-hmm. You know, because I mean, I understand with grappling and MMA, you need a limit because that makes a lot more of a difference than in boxing. However, did you see the Rahman Jr. against Greg Hardy?
I missed it.
I saw the highlights of that one, but then I saw like they said like Rahman got because Rahman, I was gonna meet him at DLX. I think he trains at DLX here with Christine Faria, and I was like, this guy. I mean, I just thought he was small for heavyweight, but I'm like, he's a fucking technical, but he's a good boxer. Mm-hmm. And then to see Greg Hardy knocked him down twice, and then I watched the highlights and like Then I saw them next to each other. I'm like, obviously.
Yeah.
Fucking guy's twice his size because there's no heavyweight limit. Like, it doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter.
Well, you know what? What I could say with that is I see where you're coming from, but if there was going to be like a 400-pound heavyweight that just crushed everybody, we'd see it by now.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't that. Yeah, true.
So I think.
I mean, at the same time, yeah. Like, I mean, okay, Tyson Fury's a different animal. But, like, Greg Hardy's bigger than Deontay Wilder, but Wilder would fuck him up. So, there's limits, yeah.
Deontay is like 240 max.
Deontay, if Tyson Fury didn't exist, Deontay would definitely be the best heavyweight.
Right now,
there's no one can beat him. Even Usyk, as much of 100 times better boxer he is, technically, he's gonna get caught.
Yeah, that right hand, that right straight with Deontay is just different, dude. There's some people, people are just different. There's some people like I was talking into it. Well, my cousin downstairs a couple days ago.
Yeah,
he was talking about lifting weights, and we could remember. Freshman in high school, like 13 years old, and some friends of ours never ever worked out in their life, and they put 135 on the bench, and they're just fucking repping this shit, and they're a child. Meanwhile, I'm benching like 65 pounds at the time.
It's intangibles, but the intangibles that make the sport so great, which is like, why does this skinny, lanky guy have so much knockout power? Maybe like Kevin Holland.
Yep.
He is a touch of death sometimes. Like, how?
And like people can understand if you're fucking cranking that thing or you get a roundhouse head kick or some shit. But some people like Connor, they could barely tap you with the left straight, not even fully back, just like leaving it out there a little bit, almost like a jab, and drop you with it easily. It's like, holy fuck, dude, how do you generate so much velocity and power on that?
There's no like science to it. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, like, they're just small muscle fibers in their body just fucking work different or something.
Yeah. There's people that, because Izzy was actually, based on what Izzy said, I made a lot of money betting on Kara Fronts to like knock out Cody Garbrandt. It was like 6-1 for him to win by knockout or something. So, because Izzy was saying like, you've seen me fight the biggest guys. You've seen me fight like heavyweight. You've seen me, I spar Dan Hooker. I spar all these people. Nobody like rocks me or anything, but I've sparred Kai, and Kai has rocked me in sparring. I'm like, okay, I'm putting my money on Kai by knockout. So there's that intangible too. Like, why does this small guy rock Izzy in sparring? When these big guys can't. Not even in fights. So
it's interesting,
it's
man.
Weird. Yeah,
I wish I was blessed with some of that.
Yeah,
give me.
I don't know. I gotta fight a pro fight at some point to find out what my blessing is. Like,
yeah, right. So you've been boxing for a while. You started after Taekwondo. Were you competing in anything, or were you just going to the gym?
I've done like I have four amateur fights. I'm 3-1.
Nice.
In these amateurs back then, but I was like, what was I? Before 17, by 17, I think 17 I had my last one. Now I'm 30. So I went to college at 18. I went to move to the Netherlands, and then I didn't have any boxing gyms in this tiny like place in the south that I was studying at. There was all kickboxing. Like the Netherlands is a kickboxing country, and I was like, I don't feel like, maybe because then you also have an ego, and you're also like free for the first time. You're like, maybe I should take a break. And at the same time, I don't want to feel like a novice again. There's that ego. So, because I know I'll suck again, if I'm going to do kickboxing.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it for like 3 years. I did a couple of classes in my last year just because I missed it too much. And then really started getting into it again when I went to Amsterdam for my master's. I was staying at this like kind of like student residence where they had a gym. And there was a couple of these crazy Russians that were sponsored by like Under Armour and stuff that would like just like hit the bag and train together and spar once in a while when they were drunk, Nice. I was like, shit, let me do this. So that's how I started getting back into it. It was like 2014. I had my struggles in around 2014, 2015 with like going out life and all that, enjoying life too much. And then there was a point I had a job that like really, like it was like long hours. Sometimes most of the time I worked till like 9 p.m. and everything. And I gained so much weight because I was eating wrong. I couldn't train enough. And when I quit that job, I took 3 months just to lose all the weight. And I lost, how much is it in pounds? I lost like 13 kilograms. Let me calculate this.
Like 6 pounds?
No, that's like more. That's like 25 pounds 25 maybe like pounds? In like 3 months. And like,
oh yeah, that's right. It's double. It's like 2.2
kg to like LB. Let me figure this out. I need to know this. 13 Oh, 28. Jeez, I lost like around almost 28 pounds in those 3 months just to get right. Because mentally, man, it fucks with you. Like, I've always been confident with people, with women, with everything. But during that period, like, I gained so much weight. Like, I lost all of it. Like, it just changes you as a person. You gain a lot of weight. Like, I gained a little bit of weight here, but not to like, that was crazy. And I knew I had to change that to get back to my normal self. And that's when I really went back into boxing again, because that's the main thing that like made me lose that weight, and also like give you that power again, like to feel like you're an animal again, you know, like yeah,
snapping that bag a little bit.
Yeah, so I'd say like since 2016, I've been regularly back into it, you know. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So. Nice. Well, shit, I want to ask you, man. Yeah. So I told you my idea with the pod thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to be my first guest on that trend on that segment of Talk Smack with Mac? I'll catch you on the pads, and then we'll do some cool little sparring.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. You want to do it now while I'm under the...
No, hell no. So all right, so check this out. It's dark as fuck outside, right?
Yeah.
Not too long ago, I was sparring Jacob downstairs at like 3 a.m. We're both drunk as fuck. It's in the dark, and then we were gentle with each other per se.
Yeah,
a little bit of blood, and then he accidentally elbowed me in the back of the head a few times. I woke up the next day and had fucking knots on. No, we were boxing, bro.
Yeah. But it has to be boxing. It can't be a discipline I haven't done yet.
I remember getting in the like close on him, and you see him, he's tall and lanky. Yeah. So I got it close on him, and I was getting ready. Like I hit him with a right hook, and then I switched, hit him with a left hook to the body. And then I was just gonna tee off on him, and I was like, "Wait, man, I love this guy. I don't want to do that." I was like, "Hey, dude, you're big. Like, you're not training to be a fucking boxer. You're training to defend yourself. Fucking grab me and fucking shove me if you need to. Hit me with an elbow if you got to." And I remember you fucking just grabbed me, bro. He smacked me with an elbow, and I dropped to the floor. Like, I slipped and fell to the floor. Caught myself, got back up. I felt like 2 or 3 times, man. Fucking him grabbing me and like throwing me and hitting me with an elbow. That's
the size difference.
Yeah, right. He has.
That's where there's weight classes.
Yeah, he has like 45 pounds on me.
That's again like the thing with combat sports. Like, but I think that was the thing with jiu-jitsu, right? Like, it was invented for the smaller guys to subdue the bigger guys. At the end of the day, yeah.
Do you do any type of jiu-jitsu?
I've never done grappling, and it doesn't sit right with me that like these people can like probably murder me. Like, it doesn't sit right with me. Like, it depends.
All right, so check this out, man. You got to do, when you move to Vegas, you got to do some jiu-jitsu with me. I fucking
as soon as I move here, I'm gonna do it.
I love boxing.
Yeah,
I've been boxing for a while, off and on. I fucking love boxing.
Yeah.
When I started doing jiu-jitsu, I was like, I might like this more than boxing.
Yeah.
It's badass, man.
This is what, so, yeah.
Like, and I like fighting for my life, too.
I haven't been, like, I need to get in that situation soon again. Like, I haven't been there in a while, that, like, fighting for your life thing, though. It's not, I mean, it's not something you wish for. It's something that, like, when you get in it and you get out of it, you're like, fuck, you feel so good about it. But you don't want to do it again. But then sometimes you get
it's kind of scary. It's kind of fucking scary.
So this is what I have. Like, sometimes I have this, like, itch still to, like, sign up for a fight again. I'm like, I have so much going on for myself. Why would I do this? But then every once in a while, I see myself in front of a forum, trying to like, even in Amsterdam, like with LFL Levels Fight League, it's called. It's coming up. I'm I've never grappled before, but fuck it. Like, I see myself in front of this forum sometimes. Like, I want to do this, kind of, like, and I'm almost there, and I'm like, no,
it's fun to compete, man.
Yeah,
but there's also
so many eyeballs factor. Too.
Yeah,
it's more about the other people being there.
Yeah,
like if it's 1-on-1, like I'll do it.
Excuse me, beat my ass in private. It's fine.
Exactly.
I don't mind.
Yeah,
beat my ass in jiu-jitsu class or
like they're actually promoting this promotion and these fights and everything. So I'm like, fuck, they're gonna promote me getting my ass beat. I don't want that.
You know what? I've been humbled so much starting jiu-jitsu that I don't even mind getting beat up anymore.
I think jiu-jitsu
depending on who it's coming from.
Yeah,
depending on who it's coming from.
Yeah,
it's like. Okay, so rolling wise, almost anybody could beat me, and I'm like, fuck it. I have like this rivalry with these fucking 16-year-old kids, man. They wrestle. They wrestle. They wrestle for the high school here, and they do jujitsu. They're at Extreme Couture like fucking 4 or 5 days a week, just doing jujitsu, and like they're fucking little freaks, bro. We be going at it.
The thing is, these people. I'm gonna go live right now.
There's this time, man. I keep on forgetting his name, man. Shout out to the little homie at Extreme Couture, man. So we're going at it in jiu-jitsu, and I get this dude in an arm bar, right? And I have the arm bar locked, and he's fighting it with his arm. And when I tell you this strong motherfucker fought my arm bar off for about 2 minutes. I'm talking about I'm using all of my strength.
What was that size difference was?
We're about the same.
Same size. Okay.
We're about the same. Yeah. And I know I'm not the biggest, strongest motherfucker in the world, but I'm not weak at all.
Yeah.
So shout out to this little fucking child for beating my ass.
Name, you can't shout him out.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
I know.
You know what? Next time I see him, I'm gonna ask him about it.
All right,
so
put this clip out and like tag him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Gonna have to, because there's like 3 of them. There's this other dude where he's a dog. This kid named Zion. He be beating the fuck out of my ass. And then the other little homie, man, I forget his name too, but he's skinny, man. He's probably like 130, 135, and beats the shit out of me.
Was jiu-jitsu a real, like, was it a thing when you were their age? Like,
I started doing jiu-jitsu last year.
Yeah, so because I remember when jiu-jitsu came to Jordan, I think Ashley's boyfriend, Ashley Evans Smith, I think her boyfriend is really close friends with the guy who brought it to Jordan, actually. But
dope.
I remember like a lot of kids were like signing up to it and everything. There was a jiu-jitsu class while I was doing taekwondo and everything. So it's not in the rest of the world, it's not that. It's a pretty new thing. It's not so the kids starting in it now, like imagine how good they're gonna be.
Exactly.
You have like Rosas coming in, and I can't root for him because I'm just fighting my boy Jay Perrin, who I know. So it's like, but these kids, like, what is he? Is he 17? He came out of the Contender Series and he's already like, because he was already fighting in these promotions. He was fighting these illegal like underground things at 14, 15 and stuff like that. So these people are starting real young.
Yeah, I just looked at his Instagram. He's like 17. He has like 180,000 or some shit. Jesus, It's like, holy fuck, that's a lot for a kid, because you could think there's a shit ton of UFC fighters with 5,000 followers, 6,000, 8,000.
It's weird. Like, it doesn't automatically speak for itself if you're in the UFC stuff.
You have
your job
to sell
promoting
yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
If nobody knows, if you gotta like sell that ass, whatever.
Yeah. If you're fighting on a prelims and you're fighting at 4:35 and the main card doesn't start until 7. Yeah, not too many people but the diehards are gonna be watching.
Yeah.
So it's your job,
gamblers and all that.
Sell that shit, man. That's the thing. It comes down to people like yourself and myself. Get on the podcast. Get recorded at your gym. Yeah. Get yourself filmed.
Oh, I love talking.
I think a lot of that comes to some of the fighters are fucking boring. Yeah. And then some fighters are just don't really give a fuck. And they're like, fuck social media, which I totally get it, right? Fuck social media, but it's so important.
But it is.
Especially with the pay for fighters in the beginning. It's like you have to have an alternate source of income. And if you have the mother load, the jackpot of content, i.e. your training, you have to be able to monetize that somehow in today's day and age, for sure.
You have to be able to monetize it. And there's just so many opportunities. Like, make use of the platform that you have. Like, if you're fighting on that platform in the UFC, like you know how many eyes are on you. Like, just a lot of people are scared of the criticism they get after a loss. I think when they're not used to it, when they don't have that many followers. But like, it's only gonna get worse. Yeah, it's only gonna get worse. The more you grow.
Fuck those people. Fuck the people that ever criticize anybody for losing.
But
even if
for their $10 bet on the parlays.
Hey, even if you're fucking. You have 6 fights and you've won 1. You're 1-5.
Yeah.
And people are judging you. Fuck those people. Because those 6 fights, you had a bigger balls or bigger cojones to get in the fucking octagon and actually fight versus the people criticizing you. Because I guarantee you, people that get in there aren't going to criticize you, because there's a certain amount of respect that goes into just signing on that dotted line, like you said, to the amateur fights and shit like that. You're signing on to say, I'm going to lock myself in this cage, and
so I'm already considering that too. Like, that's the thing. I consider that, and the biggest thing that stops me is the fact that, like, fuck, like, I might get beat up in front of all these people, and there's not that many people. You're talking about like a couple of hundred people at this thing. They're doing it in front of millions.
Think back to high school. If you got in a fight in front of fucking 5 people, it's like, oh fuck, man. Those 5 people see me get my ass kicked. I'm fucking embarrassed.
Get my hair spit on while I'm in Taekwondo.
Yeah. Meanwhile, these days, you can have 100 people watching you in person, and then 50, 60,000 online talking about how you got your ass whooped because a knockout went viral.
Yeah, I think it has to do with social media culture of, I always see this when people die or pass away, like artists or anyone famous and stuff, and like you see all these people making jokes and memes about it already on the same day. I'm like, dude, because you're used to this person being on a screen, they think like that it fades to reality and fiction. Like, just because he's on a screen, he's not a character. He's a human. Yeah, exactly. Like, people forget that.
Their family's still mourning and going through situations and shit.
And you feel that more when you start knowing these professionals and these fighters. And that's what I have now. Like, now the more people I meet, like the more people I hear, like media people, everything talking shit about them. Like, no, that's not true. I try to defend them, and I'm like, fuck, this is how it is. This is how it is for them and their family. You know, like, they have to hear these. Like, I've had friends where I know the truth about certain things and things that were happening behind the scenes, and then they take a loss, and people are like, oh, they're probably this. Or like, Ashley recently got suspended for, like, you know, the like PADs and stuff like that. But I've known the story. I've been knowing the story like for a long time, like how the doctor fucked up like the reading on like a very simple tiny thing in the supplements, and she was just taking them and they just caught her. Like, that's like, I've been knowing that, and then seeing a lot of the criticism were like, and like people that don't know her talk and say the things that they're saying. I'm like, this is so fucking unfair. And then I really feel for them, like, this is what they're dealing with, because you know these people,
you can't win either.
You can't
you can't win against the masses. If you have 250,000 people talking shit, like, what is your one? You can't respond to all of those people.
No, and
it's hard. There's a lot of ingredients that could get, you know, coasted by, and you can eat them without even knowing, and then you're popping hot. Not saying that's what happened, but that is very capable.
Yeah, like the list changes all the time. I mean, that one was a case of like this older doctor, like, because she went through like what spine surgery is taking, what are they called, the stem cells and everything in that. So there's a lot of medicines that come into like making it more effective, and also like in like speeding up recovery and stuff like that. And like, one of those things was just the doctor overlooked a small substance. It was a small thing and everything. And like, the punishment can sometimes be very severe for just a small thing. Yeah. In her case, it was the her estrogen level, her testosterone levels already low compared to women, even fighter women or whatever. And so that one of the supplements she was taking would like make it spike just a little bit. It would still be below the average for just women in general around the world, but just because they saw that little spike from that thing, they were like, "Oh, you're probably taking steroids." So that's what it was basically. That's in a nutshell, like the basic explanation. So yeah, but you know, they have their protocols. I think they reduced it as well, the punishment. So that's good. Yeah. But the reactions I saw on Twitter was like, but this is my good friend. This is my homie right now. Like, this
she seems super dope, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you had her on the show.
Yeah, I had her on the podcast before, and she was super dope.
Yeah, so
and she gets bashed for like some criticisms with a couple things as of recently, and then in addition to her spine surgery, I'm like, holy fuck, that's a lot of things to deal with.
It is a lot.
Shout out to her podcast too, man.
Sex and Violence with Rebel, bro.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. That shit is fucking badass. I love some.
Dude, I got lashed out to that project because I knew, like, from the name already, I was like, this is different, and I believed in it. And now it's on UFC Fight Pass, so that's sick.
That's sick. Phenomenal, man. That's so badass. Shout out to her. I see she's been doing some like commentating and shit like that too, in cage interviews.
And Up Next Fighting, like, I got hooked up with Cage Side the other day. Well, when I was in Cali Media, that promotion, that one is the best regional promotion I've ever seen. I mean, Tough Enough is there. Like it's on that level and it's new, and it's that one's gonna grow. I think Up Next Fighting is gonna be the next thing. Like because the show they put on the they have in between the prelims and the main card, they have like a halftime show kind of thing, and it's they put so much money into it. They put the money in the right places, and they invest in the right, like the fighters that have come on the last 3 events, especially the main event. Like people show out, like they know they have people with fan bases and people from different nationalities that know. They have prideful people behind them and stuff like that to create an atmosphere. It's crazy, and just the look of it. If you see it, it's amazing. Like you got to check them out sometime.
No, I'll definitely check them out.
Up Next Fighting, yeah.
So what's next for you, man? I know you're out here. You went out to LA. You stayed out there for a little bit of time. You said it was pretty badass, and then you came out to Vegas to. Like, I feel like if you're into fighting, this is where you want to be. This is like the. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the best place to be if you're trying to make a name for yourself or network and meet people. You know, online is one thing, but being able to go out and see these people in person on a regular basis is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, it's like what I had to figure out is the fact that once you start knowing people here, like it's very normal to meet the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because everybody knows everybody.
It's a small world, but also drama happens. Like it just like travels fast at the same time. But you just gotta like walk through that sometimes because like it's such a small world. You can't avoid everyone, but that's a good thing. Like it means it's a small world. It means you can meet everyone. Like if as long as you find your foot in. If you have your foot in, like and you know you're coming from a good place and genuine intentions again, like this is where you gotta be.
Yeah.
Because people look at my social media, they might sometimes think I'm just kicking it and everything, but there's a big social component to the work I'm doing. Like it's whether it's like connecting for video productions, for doing like fighter promos or like sponsor promos for these people, or for management and linking your fighters with sponsors. It's like you just have to get to know them on a personal level, gain their trust, and you know, don't try to screw them over. Like this, you know, yeah. And this is the place to be for sure, because I started in California. There's a lot of the gyms, there's a lot of the promotions, and LA is there where there's a lot of the sponsor events and stuff. But Vegas is where it's at. That's where I want to move to eventually, because I know as much as there's happening in California, and I think I went to more events there. At the end of the day, like it's the intimacy of it here is like where you really gotta be. Yeah,
because Vegas isn't too big, man.
It's small.
So, like you're saying, if you get into one group of fighters, you're eventually gonna lead to everybody else. And it's the thing that draws me to this environment, this atmosphere, this fighter environment is the energy, the personality of the people, right? Every fighter that I've ever met or fuck with or trained with or any of that, they're all so hardworking, all so humble, and just like to have fun and play around and shit. Yeah. It's like those are the type of people I like to fuck with. Hey, you want to go run a Spartan race here in a couple months? Fuck yeah, bro, let's do it. Those are my kind of people.
It's like we've been partying recently. Like we went to one of their houses.
They party
recently.
Hard too, yeah.
They party hard. Yeah. And but the cool thing is, like, we were invited to. We had a watch party at one of their houses recently, and it's like most of them were in fight camp, so nobody was drinking. Just their ladies. Sometimes, you know, I'm the only one that felt like, you know, I got this bottle of tequila nobody wants to dig into because my boy David was fighting at bare knuckle. But 2 weeks later, like, because I was telling
people are getting fucking thrashed.
Yeah, I was telling my friend, I was like, we're going home, and we're like, okay. We're gonna go out on a night out, and the fight after party was just gonna be a couple of drinks. I was like, no. Once they're out of fight camp, it's like gone. Okay, and we experienced that too. So that's
how much can we drink? Before somebody gets sick, we're getting fucked up tonight.
Everything exactly.
All right, so once you get out to Vegas, man, like what's your main goal? You said you're using your podcast as almost a networking business card type thing. Yeah. Draw the people in, make friends with them, and then you want to manage them and film them and shit like that?
My idea was like to just have like a solid base of clients, of like be connected with the gyms to do fighter promos for any fighter, or like sponsorship, like when you got to do little commercial videos or something for the sponsors. To do that. And I thought management would be the side thing. Yeah. But I ended up meeting so many people, apparently, like, dissatisfied with their management that, like, and I really try to understand the issue, like, why are you dissatisfied with your management? Well, what it comes down to with most people is the fact that they sign with big managements because of the name, but then if you sign with a big management, you have a big roster. You don't you need to feed your kids, and they're only focused on these other guys, and then when they're done, they start focusing on you, and then the other people are starving. So small roster, all you need is like 3-4 fighters that are working, and you're making bank. They're happy, and that's it. I want to keep it intimate.
And having that intimacy with the fighters is everything, bro, because that it comes down to a lot of things. Let me manage you. Let me really manage you as far as like your social media, your sponsorships, your money. You know, I'm a fucking accountant. I went and got my accounting degree because I wanted to really know the numbers side of the game, right?
That's very important.
It's very fucking important. It's like, let me manage your money. Yeah, you know, that's a possible long-term goal of mine, is getting my CPA and managing money for fighters here in town, because like I mentioned before, a lot of these people are getting fucked over with their money. Yeah, big time. And they don't have that much fucking money as is. There's nothing worse.
And I know that from production. It's like you want to offer them, they don't have $250 to spare like that. You know,
who does these days, bro? Everything is so fucking expensive. Yeah. But it's like, who the fuck wants to go out and bust their ass and literally fight for their money just to have a greedy fuck try to take it from them?
It's and that's why I'm trying to be. So the one thing is like building relationships from a genuine place, because the way I started is I was getting sponsorships for people without money. So like we have people giving their products like gloves, shoes, shorts, whatever, the hot suits and everything. And when they see how I go out of my way to just do that and get them that, where I'm not benefiting anything, but I'm building relationships with these brands, which is good. But they also see that I'm coming from a genuine place. I'm like, if there's no money involved, I'm still willing to help you. I'll get you the hot suit. I'll get you new gloves, shoes, and everything, you know? And that's how, that's where I think I started building the trust most. But I am getting benefits from it because I'm linking and I'm learning,
Yeah, you genuinely care about these people. Hey, I genuinely want to help you. Maybe not for beneficial gain, just because I think you fucking deserve it. I see how hard you're working. Yeah, that's one thing that I really admire about like the fighters too, is that I see how hard they work. Oh yeah, you know, it's like, hey, when our bodies hurt, you know, we don't usually get up and go to the gym and work out normal people too much.
No, and like,
I mean, my crazy ass, I do it sometimes, but like most people, they don't do that. It's like, hey, I heard I'm gonna sit down. These guys are like, hey, I just had a fucked up day at my 9 to 5, and now my hand hurts and I have to go get punched in the face for the next hour and a half, and then I have grappling after that.
And you're on your period if you're a woman too, like during your fight.
So that's one of the biggest things I wanted. I was gonna have a sit down with the female fighter, a friend of mine, and really ask like the female side of questions, like the mental side. Periods, like these women have to go through weight cuts just like the men, and they're excruciating and fucking suck too, you know. And then imagine going on your period, fight week. So you already have to, you already have to cut. Then you have your period, and you're absorbing and having all that extra weight on you, and you have to cut that shit too. And you're in pain, and you have cramps. There's so much that goes through this shit. And then especially on top of that, with women, all the weight cuts that they do, every time they do an extreme weight cut, that's killing their chances of having kids. If you're doing that over and over and over, it's like they're sacrificing so much to chase a dream. That's hard. It's literally hard.
There's a lot of people that won't date a woman that can't have kids anymore. You know, like that's what's crazy too. And but it's weird with women where you hear like you hear this so often that just. I've seen this from so many of them that they have their periods. I think because like just an accumulation of weight cutting and everything. Like they say like, oh, this was the first camp in like 4 camps or 5 camps that I didn't have my period. It just happens because of all the weight cutting and everything. They just have to deal with it more often than not. Yeah, as well. So there's another reason I have an extra respect for female fighters, because they have to deal with certain things men don't have to. Yeah. So
especially the level of expectations too. The level of expectations for females fighters are automatically higher. You have to go in there and prove you belong still, which is absurd, because there are so many gangster ass women out there, man. So many terrifying gangster ass female fighters. Shout out to all the beautiful female fighters out there.
Man.
But yeah, they deserve recognition, but there's still those fucking pieces of shit, man, that are like, man, this is a man's sport.
Oh yeah,
It's like, man, go watch Valentina Shevchenko, bro. Go watch her fight.
Go spar.
Go see if it's still a man's sport, because she's gonna fucking destroy you.
No, that's where like I'm interested in. So the UFC has managed to build itself into I would say like this is a sport, MMA, but especially in the UFC, where like equality between men and women has become like on par, basically
closing the gap. Yeah,
it's closed the gap a lot, like significantly, almost 100% in terms of like, I don't know, okay, not 100%, maybe in terms of like fight and pay and stuff like that, but like it gets close, and like people will watch the whole event, so they'll watch the female fights as well. You know, because at the end of the day, you still have a high level fight between two people. It's not like the quality is different.
Yeah, who cares if they have a dick or not?
Yeah.
It's like, you're gonna go out there and watch women.
I always like want to see like, how did they manage to do that? Like, how do you translate that to other sports? It's difficult. It's a different kind of sport. It's like I don't know, because I always see the level difference in team sports.
Yeah,
but in terms of fighting, like when you put one person in front of the other, it's like, no, these people are like on par with each other, and it's still a high level fight because they're at the same level. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because it's an individual sport. I don't know.
Probably
but so.
Promotional and the training too, like the training with. I mean, you know this.
Yeah.
You train certain things to where it becomes almost muscle memory. So it's like you're.
And the only difference will be the physical differences.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could.
Like you can have a man and a woman fight each other or on the same level.
Will you see a physical difference or discrepancy between a man and a man and a woman? Because if you have two women that are 135, they're going to be strong. They're going to look strong.
There's that whole bone density thing and the different muscle fibers and everything. Where like, but that's the whole argument against transgenders being in the sport as well. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm against it too, and that's why every woman is actually against it too. Is because they're like, did you see that? What was the last one? Which promotion was it on? Was it on Combate? Am I tripping? Like there was the last transgender fighter who fought this French woman, I think. And you can clearly see a level difference where the biological female was so much better technically, but she would just hit the trans fighter with everything, and it's like just walking through it. Yeah, and then eventually she gassed out and got hit because of the bone density and everything. And even someone as scary, and someone who scares me too if I want to spar against her, as Christine Faria was telling me, I'm not gonna fight you because your bone density, you guys, and everything, you'll fuck me up. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but she still knows, like, if there's a guy close to her level, like not even close to her level, a guy who was a decent professional who's gonna fight the baddest woman on earth in Christine Faria, like the bare knuckle champion, she's worried just because of this bone density in the knuckles and the head and everything. Like we can take more, so there's those biological differences that, you know.
Yeah, fuck that. That shit isn't fair.
So there's biological differences, but at the same time, I'm like, You can easily have like a male and female in the same weight class where the female is technically way better than the guy. So that's what makes the sport exciting, I guess.
Yeah.
And what makes the equality like better, closer.
So what's your time frame when or how can you put a time frame on when you would like to be living in Vegas?
I think just realistically thinking about the stuff I have to do back home and moving, I'd move out of my apartment into this apartment that my parents own, I guess, to stop spending and then start working on just arrangements for here. See, like, probably find a side job first because it's so expensive to live here. I have double bills now. I can't do this if I want to live here. And like the first thing I would do is like find a side job and then make the arrangements to come here, like also with visa, like taxes and everything. I think I have to change everything, you know, learn the tax system. And I think so March, April, I was thinking of coming out here.
In a few months.
Yeah.
Oh,
March,
shit.
April 2023 is like, because I'm convinced, man.
Damn, I thought you were going to be like, yeah, man, maybe like a year, you know, around this time next year. Nah. He said March or April. Shit.
Dude, I've been stuck in Amsterdam for a while. It's like, there's a lot I can do there. Eurosport just got a deal, but they have their own little clique and people, and I have a beef with one of them. Like,
my gosh.
They were like, yeah, we'd like to introduce you to these people, and then he realized that I would take his job if I came in, and he stopped talking to me. Piece of shit, he was in the interviews. So,
that's fucked up. That's one thing that I am trying to do out here in Vegas is create like a platform for everybody to work together. You know, if everybody in Vegas works together, we can all help each other.
Yeah.
Like, stay humble, keep the ego in check, and then let's go grind and get to the top.
That's the thing I liked here, but that's closer to Jordan, the other country I grew up in, but there we don't have the resources, but that's the mentality they have. And in the Netherlands, it's very competitive. It's more like, oh, I'm not going to help you if you're in a similar field of work as me because it's a threat. This is a threat.
Hey, that's just people like being insecure and shit. Yeah, fuck that. I know my work ethic, and I know what I bring to the table, so I don't have to question that. I don't get intimidated from people that bust their ass more.
No,
so
I don't
want to
associate with them anymore. Like that's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it regardless of you. Maybe it'll take longer, but I'll make it.
Fuck those people, man.
The right people.
Don't be haters. Don't be a hater.
It's like at first they were like, what happened? It was the messaging. They're like, yeah, please, I like what you're doing. They follow me and everything. And then at some point I was like, yeah, let's set up the meeting and everything. And they started ghosting me. I'm like, okay, what? And then I saw that guy was the one that does the interviews, and he does them in a more terrible way than I do. He has a big accent. Like it's like just fucking whatever. There can be two of us. Although there is a way, like I thought, like, okay, so the way they do it, they have their people to cover the events that are closer to home. So in Europe or in London, when they have UFC London and stuff, like they cover it there. I'm like, if I'm going to move here anyway, maybe I'll be your correspondent over here. I'm in Vegas, you know, how many events are happening in the Apex and then the T-Mobile Arena? Like, I can be that guy.
Yeah.
So it's still possible. And there's like the Levels Fight League is growing there. Like that's the big promotion in Amsterdam. Well, it's a small promotion, but it's like the first MMA promotion there because kickboxing was always a thing. Glory is there. So that's where Pereira grew up. So there's options in both places, but I know that this is the I think this is the place I have to be right now.
So what are you leaving behind? Do you have anything in Amsterdam? Friends?
It's like all the friends, the friends and everything I built up. There's the lifestyle I'm used to, I guess. But I'm ready to like drop it, honestly, because like this is, I like it that like 30 years old, and this is where I'm gonna make all these changes. You know, 30 is just feels like a good age, and it's like I've built my network through this podcast over like 2 years about.
So you can only fucking imagine what would happen if you're actually here in town doing it.
And that's what a lot of people like are surprised about. The biggest thing people are surprised about, they're like, you built this whole network, you met all these people through while you were in Amsterdam. I'm like, yeah, but that made me think about it too. Like, oh, I did. Fuck. I met these people out. Okay. I did work a tournament in Amsterdam too, but that was like amateurs and stuff that are coming up. But mostly, the pros and the big names, like I met them through Amsterdam. So, and through doing all these graphics and stuff for them. So, yeah. Now I'm kind of getting a taste of it right now of like how it would be if I'm here. So, yeah, sink or swim.
Fuck it, man. Whatever I can do to help, you let me know. March or April is coming up really.
You're one of those people that I met too, like through Amsterdam.
Yeah, just
then I show up at your house. It's like,
it's a trip. It's a fucking trip.
It's crazy.
So it just goes to show how small the world is, especially the fighting world. You know, everybody knows everybody. Like you said, everybody comes to Vegas eventually. If you get to the top promotion in the world, you're gonna come to Vegas. Yeah, whether it's the Apex or T-Mobile or whatever it may be, UFC is big in Vegas. You're gonna come out here eventually. So I think that's an advantage that you and I would have and do have.
What I have to tell you about that is too, like the growth of the sport is like. That's something I knew I had to capitalize. Now, what you probably also realize is like the sport we're kind of in it and we have our foot in it right now. And now it's at its blow up point. Like this is it. Like other sports, they already have their clicks. They already have their people and everything. It's really hard to break through in there. We are like in the wave of like, it's about to reach its biggest, highest point right now. So if you can get in it now, like this is the time to invest in it. Let's say like, you know, to grow, and then you can be in it. And you don't have to struggle like the resters are going to struggle that are going to come after you, you know? Like now it's easier because it's still small enough, but so many people watch it. Like COVID, when it was the first sport back, I think that's what made the difference for me, as in timing wise. It's like I got into it like as soon as all these casuals and people that weren't watching it started watching it
because it was the only thing out. Yeah.
So I still had access to bigger names.
The fights were so much better during COVID too, when there was no crowd.
Yeah, it was weird.
You could just hear them talking. You could hear each punch fucking landing. I remember watching a Justin Gaethje fight when he was fighting during COVID. And it was like
the Ferguson one probably.
Every punch he was landing, against Tony.
Yeah,
I was like, holy fuck! And everybody likes Tony. It's like, man, I don't want to see him get smashed like this, just in the fight.
Yeah, and then Tony caught him with an uppercut, I think. I'm like, fuck.
It just goes to show how much heart these motherfuckers have, man.
Yeah, no, the COVID thing, the empty arenas changed that too. I think Glover versus Anthony Smith was the first up. That might have been the first COVID one too. And that I watched the highlights of it. I even missed that one too. And then when you hear Glover tell Anthony, like, sorry, Anthony's just part of the job, and he's like, I know, buddy, it's okay. Yeah. I was like, fuck. You don't catch that shit normally, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, you know, but that's it. It's part of the sport. We love each other and everything, but I have to smash him. Sorry.
That's so crazy to think. Like, you're trying to smash my face in. You might even break my skull. Yeah. You might break my eye. But we're going to go out and kick it probably after this and have a beer and shit.
Just telling you, like, it's fine if you beat me the fuck up.
I get it, man.
I still like it. We're trying to make money, you know?
I'm trying to smash you as well. You're just beating my ass. You're doing it better.
You know? Even my amateur friends, I'm, like, looking at, like, what they go through right now. And I told them, like, listen, like, because their struggle is, like, they can't find a balance between having a flexible job and making enough money and then also
full-time training.
Yeah, full-time training, yeah.
That's so much respect that I give to the people that I meet, bro. Because can you imagine working a 9 to 5 and then going training for another 2 or 3 hours?
So that's so because I was talking to, I'm not gonna name her even, like, but she used to have a realtor license, and is like, I'm thinking of going back as a realtor, but that's like a 24/7 job basically, you know, like being an entrepreneur. So it's like me. So I'm like, yeah, if I relate it like that, you can't go back to that and train at the same time. That's why you got to have these other jobs. So, but that's it. Like, if I wanted to be an athlete and do what I'm doing right now, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot of respect. Like, they choose to be broke to become pro eventually.
And then you still don't make that much money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So they're literally chasing the dream.
Yeah. But at the same time, on the other end of the coin, I'm like, to be an athlete, you have such a short window, so you have to chase it now at the same time. And whatever, if you fail when you're 35 and everything, then you can find anything else.
Yeah. That's the thing about life. Life is long, you know, unless something unfortunate happens. Yeah. Life is long. So if you say, I'm going to chase the fuck out of this dream until 35, and if that dream doesn't work, you could still chase another dream, at least have in a different field.
Another half of your life,
Yeah, so you can still do something else.
And on the way, you've met so many people.
But so you're not starting from scratch. You're ahead, and you have life experiences.
More experience than these people. What is a PhD? Like, PhD is people getting practical experience in the field. Nobody has more practical experience than you do. Nobody's met more people than you do in this industry. It's not just about fighting. And I'm surprised that not enough fighters realize this thing. And I have to tell them this. Is like, I would kill to have your network, and I would kill to have, like, it's not just about fighting. You have the media side of it, and you have the medical side of it, and you have the business side of it, and you have, like, so it's a whole job industry that you have a head start in.
Yeah.
So once you're done, you can find your way. Maybe you have to study a little bit, but you know, you got to find your way. You're gonna find your way in. So a good job.
It will definitely take some work, but I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yes, and I agree with you. I would love to kill for certain people's networks and shit like that, and just get in on the friend groups and all of those things. So,
because I'm still relying on these people now to meet certain people sometimes. You know, so yeah,
that could be kind of scary.
Yeah,
it's like
I mean, like, recently, like, again, like, well, you know more details, but it's like, I get introduced to a whole group, and then you fall out with that one person. Like, do you think about what's my position in that group now? You know, what is it? Do I have to find my new position?
Like, hey guys, we still haven't, Wednesday for
like,
the
what's
boys?
What's your loyalty to this person? Was it like, you know,
are we friends still?
Yeah, I'm sure it is for most of them, but like, you still wonder and you doubt it, like, you know. Yeah, because it's a small world again.
I know you just met me, but I'm nice.
Yeah. Like, she ain't, take it with a grain of salt. Everything this person says. Like,
yeah. Well, shit, Nick, man, I appreciate you getting on the pod, man.
Appreciate you inviting me.
Getting a little bit of taste of, what you're doing and what you plan to be doing and what your future goals are. And I fucking look forward to seeing you in Vegas, bro. I really think that we could get together and really try to do some shit. Like, I can help you, you can help me, and we can really try to network and meet some people, meet some badass people.
It's a collab culture.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you getting me on. It was fun to reflect back, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, we definitely got to get
March, April. Is it March, April? I'm gonna come out here.
Before you leave too, I definitely got to get the spar in the midst, bro.
You gotta do that thing.
I need that, man. I need that. But that sums it up for this episode of Talk Smack with Mac Nick. Like I said, I appreciate it. Make sure all you guys check out Air Media Productions, man. Check out Nick. I'll make sure to put the drops, put the tags in the description, all that good shit, man. But yes, we're out, bro.